All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're ready to dive deep into something pretty complex today.
Yeah, definitely some choppy waters ahead.
We're looking at President Trump's statement on Iran and Yemen's Houthi rebels, specifically the one where he holds Iran directly responsible for anything the Houthis do. And, well, things are already tense, right? I mean, we've got the Houthis targeting ships in the Red Sea.
Right, including ships from the U.S. and other countries.
Exactly. So we're trying to figure out what happens when you put the blame squarely on one country for actions taken by a group operating in a completely different country.
Yeah, it's like we're looking at a proxy conflict, potentially. One powerful country, Iran, being accused of using a non-state actor, these Houthi rebels, to kind of push their agenda.
Okay, so that's the big picture, but I think to really get into this, we need more context.
Absolutely, context is key.
So can you break it down for us a little? Like, who are these Houthis, and what's their connection with Iran?
Okay, so the Houthis, they're a Zaidi Shia Muslim group.
Yazid?
Yeah, it's a branch of Shia Islam. And they've been fighting for control in Yemen, like, for decades.
Wow, decades.
Yeah, they see themselves as, resisting foreign influence and corruption, that kind of thing. But their relationship with Iran, that's become really important in recent years.
So Iran is backing them.
Yeah, they've provided support to the Houthis. Weapons, training.
Okay, but how much support?
Well, that's the thing. The exact extent of that support, it's debated. Nobody knows for sure.
Okay, so we've got this gray area.
Exactly. And that's why Trump's statement makes such a big impact.
Right, because it kind of cuts through all that uncertainty.
It does. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences."
Wow, he didn't mince words there. So basically, he's linking the Houthis and Iran directly, no matter what. What does that do? I mean, what kind of precedent does that set on, like, the world stage?
It's bold, that's for sure. The U.S. is saying, we don't see a difference between what the Houthis do and what the Iranian government does.
So they're one and the same.
That's the message. And this, could really change how future conflicts are dealt with, especially when you've got these non-state actors involved.
Okay, but let's say Iran's held responsible. What does it even mean? What are the consequences?
Well, there are a lot of possibilities.
Like what?
You could see economic sanctions.
Oh, right, like the U.S. has already done to Iran.
Exactly. But they could get even tougher. Sanctions on oil exports, their financial institutions.
You're really hitting them where it hurts.
Right. Or there's the diplomatic route, isolating Iran even more.
And I guess the worst case scenario, military action.
Yeah, definitely the most extreme option, but it's on the table.
But here's what I don't get. You said earlier, we don't even know how much control Iran has over the Houthis. What if they do something, attack something completely on their own?
See, that's the big question.
It is. And that's where things get tricky, right? I mean, how do you prove involvement when it's all so tangled?
You're talking about the whole concept of responsibility in international affairs. It's tough. Where's the line between a state and a non-state actor? Is it all about who's providing the weapons?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I bet you've got some thoughts on this, right?
Well, yeah, it's not a new problem. Figuring out responsibility in proxy conflicts has always been difficult. But there are, precedents. Look at the U.S. involvement with the Contras in Nicaragua back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah?
The U.S. was supporting a rebel group fighting against the Nicaraguan government. And back then, everyone debated how much control the U.S. actually had.
Wait, so are you saying that the U.S. is using a strategy that they use to criticize other countries for?
It's one way of looking at it. Things aren't always black and white in international relations.
Yeah, this whole situation with Iran and the Houthis is a perfect example. So much gray area.
Yeah.
This is a lot for everyone listening to think about. But let's zoom out a bit. What could be the long-term consequences of this kind of policy? How might it affect other conflicts or the way countries interact with each other?
Big questions, yeah. I mean, basically, this approach says a country is responsible for what a non-state actor does. That could become the new normal.
So other countries might start doing the same thing.
Exactly. It could embolden them to go after groups they think are backed by their rivals, but there's also the flip side.
Which is?
It could create more instability.
Oh, I see.
Make it harder to resolve conflicts peacefully.
Like opening a Pandora's box.
Yeah, kinda.
Lots to think about.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next.
And how this all plays out in the long run.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's our deep dive for today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And for everyone listening, keep those gears turning.